Hey everyone, it is me, Kayla Durkin. Long time no chat. The last time I talked to all of you, I left you a ton of empty promises that I didn't meet, promises of podcasts that were coming up, and I want you to know I do really feel bad about leaving you hanging. And hopefully, this time we are in it for the long haul as we kick off the 2022-2023 school year. I do have some exciting podcasts coming up for you that I promise really are coming your way. But before we do that, I thought I should start off with a training that I hosted back in April. Some of you might have been on the training, but I have a feeling that many of you weren't. We have quite a few listeners. I actually logged into my podcast platform today, and as you know, I hadn't posted a new episode in the past 2 months, but I still have thousands of you listening to the old episodes, which, I mean, you have no idea how much that means to me. When I saw that number, I was absolutely shocked. There are currently 18,000 people who have listened to this podcast, which is absolutely unreal to me. So thank you so much for being here. But anyway, getting back to last April, I hosted a training and it was called 10 Must Do Teacher Tips for a Killer First Year. Any of you who follow me on Instagram, you also might have noticed that a few weeks ago, I was doing a series 10 Teacher Must Do's for a Killer First Year using the reels. And each day I was sharing a new reel about that must do. Well, someone reached out to me and it was a super kind message. They said it in a super professional and just meaningful way, but they said that using the term killer could be super offensive, especially for people who have been through school shootings. And so, with this episode that I am releasing, you're going to notice that the title says 10 Teacher Must Do's for an Awesome First Year. But in the video here that you listen to, that's back from April. I am going to say 10 teacher must do's for a killer first year because that's how it was recorded back then. So anyway, if you were wondering why the reel stopped, it's because I reflected on that and I need to record new reels that don't say that. But anyway, I'm going to share this training with you. It was super good. We had a lot of fun teachers on there. I did cut out a lot of the stuff where I had people typing in the chat and kind of conversing back and forth, but there might still be a little bit of that left in there. So, anyway, just wanted you to know today I'm going to be sharing with you 10 teacher must do's for an awesome first year. And I really do hope that you walk away with some good tips. And as I mentioned in the video that you're about to listen to here in a couple seconds, I guess, is that at the end of it, I'm going to take some time to explain the Blossoming Teacher course to you. If you're already a member, that is so awesome. You have no idea how much that means to me either. We just started kicking things off last night. Actually, we hosted a training all about hosting back to school night. And so if you're a member and you didn't get a chance to join us, that is uploaded into the portal. And then if you're listening to this right now, you're already a member or you're not a member, I also just want you to know on Monday, August 8th, we are doing a free training for all of the Blossoming Teacher members. And it is all about how to plan your first week of school. So we're chatting about routines and procedures. We're chatting about easing into the curriculum. We're chatting about relationships. We're chatting about how to make a high impact impression those first couple days with your students. So that's all happening on Monday, August 8th at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. We have book club starting at 6 o'clock, and then we'll connect at 6:30 for our training on how to plan that first week. And then coming up after that, September 8th. I think it's September 8th. September 8th or 9th. I'm not looking at a calendar right now. I want to say it's September 8th. Anyway, we are doing our annual Wine a Little, Laugh a Lot. That is where you are going to grab a beverage of your choice. Maybe it's water, maybe it's soda, maybe it's a glass of wine, whatever it is. And we are just going to come together to whine a little bit about what's going on during those first couple weeks of school, but we're also going to laugh a lot and learn a lot and share a lot and just come together with our community and know that there are going to be ups and downs over this upcoming school year, but through it all, we are all here together. So, with that, this is a replay of the training that I hosted back in April. So, if anything sounds goofy where I say, like, referred this picture or comment in the chat box, just know I know you're listening to a podcast. I am just reusing the recording. Oh, and then at the end, it kind of stops abruptly. I must have stopped recording at the end, but trust me, you didn't miss out on too much. And so, with that, enjoy today's episode and we will chat later. Here we go. Today we're talking all about 10 teacher must-dos for a killer first year. Today is all about helping you blossom into the teacher that you were born to be. I just want you to know that you can always reach out. You can always contact me with anything you need. You can find me at North Dakota Teaching on Instagram. We are going to be talking about the Blossoming Teacher course today, ndteaching.com/blossom. And then, of course, my email is northdakota@gmail.com. So if you have any questions at all, feel free to send them my way. If you have not been following me on Instagram, I just wanted to take some time to tell you a little bit about me. Some of you have found me through our Facebook group. Some of you have found me through Instagram, but my name is Kayla Durkin. That is my married name. I've been married for almost 5 years now. I am passionate about supporting first-year teachers in the classroom, which is what brought me here today. And a few of my favorite things include Flair pens. I am Team Flair pens. It's always Team Flair pen or Team Inkjoy, it seems. And for me, it's Team Flair pen. I got my whole entire cup of Flair pens right here. Some other things, I really do enjoy hiking. I have a goal to get to every single national park. I think I've been to 17 so far. I love Golden Doodles. Oh my gosh, Golden Doodles. I love Target. I love sunshine. I love coffee. I love all the things. So I just want to assure you, I have 4 different reasons today why you are in the right place. So first things foremost, you're in the right place. If you are a first-year teacher, you're excited about what your future holds as an educator, but at the same time, you know that there is still just so much more left to learn before you begin your first year of teaching, and that's totally okay. You're also in the right place if you are joining us here today and you've been teaching for a few years, but you're just looking to feel more confident and prepared as you begin another school year in the fall, and that's great too. We welcome you. We welcome everyone here. But I also want to share that you're in the right place if your student teaching experience wasn't quite what you hoped for. You're maybe nervous about your first classroom because some of you had to student teach online or just had really different experiences than what you were hoping for. You're maybe looking for more ways to feel confident as you begin your first year of teaching, and you're just looking for support and encouragement. And lastly, you probably saw this one on my Instagram this week, but you're in the right place if you dream of running a successful classroom where all of your students feel welcome, seen, heard, and loved, a classroom that has consistency, high expectations, student-centered learning, high engagement, and of course, laughter and fun at each and every day. So if any of that resonates with you, I just want to assure you that you truly are in the right place. So with that, let's do this darn thing and let's get this party started. So first things first, I have to tell you that there are like lots of really fun, cutesy things that we could talk about, all of the things we're seeing on Instagram, all the things we see on Pinterest. There are a lot of cute things that we could be talking about today, but we're not going to be talking about the cute things today. We're going to be talking about like the 10 super practical things that you must do these things if you are going to survive. I maybe should have put 10 must do things to survive your first year of teaching. I hate the word survive though. I always want to put a positive spin on things and help you thrive during your first year of teaching. I want you to have a killer first year of teaching, but these are the must do's to just make sure you're making it through. So the first thing is, you've heard me say this again and again and again, but I couldn't do this today without mentioning it. You must remember that you are a person first and a teacher second. Being a teacher is one of the most important things that you are ever going to do. Trust me when I say that, but who you are as a person is also really important. And you cannot forget that you are a person first and a teacher second. I want you to take just 10 seconds right now and think about all of the things that you treasure about yourself. Think of all of the amazing characteristics that make you the beautiful and unique person that you are. Whatever those
things are, those things matter. It matters if you love watching baking shows and trying new recipes. It matters if you like going to yoga class. It matters if you like getting sucked into a good book. Those things about you are really important. And if you do not put yourself first during your first year of teaching, you're going to forget all of the things that bring you joy. So I really want you to think about, how are you going to prioritize all of these really important things to you during your first year of teaching so that you don't lose yourself in the process. Any of you who are student teaching right now, I'm sure you've already had those really long days where it's like, I wanted to get to the gym, but I need to do this and this and this, and now I can't make it there. I wanted to make a really healthy meal tonight, but now I can't make that healthy meal because I need to get X, Y, and Z done. I really wanted to go out to supper with my friends, but now I feel like I can't do that because I need to do whatever it is that we need to do. Teaching is going to mold you. It's going to change you. It is going to make you into an even more incredible person than you already are. But you can't lose all of those incredible features about you during your first year of teaching. So the number one must do thing is you must remember that you are a person first and a teacher second. The second must do thing is you must nail your classroom routines and procedures. This is another one of those things that I will preach and preach and preach until the cows come home. The person you practice is the person you become. I say that to my students all of the time. The person you practice is the person you become. If you practice rolling out of bed really late every day, trying to throw your lunch together really, really fast, trying to scramble and find your backpack and figure out what you're going to wear and toss on whatever you need to toss on, and you're doing that every single day, you're going to just become the person that is always running late, that is always going to be late, that is always going to maybe forget things or not be as prepared, because that's what you're practicing every single day. Your personal routines matter, but the routines in your classroom also matter. Our students thrive from consistency. We all thrive from consistency. And so if you are letting your students practice behaviors that are going to be frustrating down the line, it's only going to build and build and build. So if at the beginning of the year you're like, oh, they weren't that loud in the hallway, it's not really that big of a deal. The next day they'll be a little louder and a little louder and a little louder, and it's going to spiral out of control. And I believe that about every single routine and procedure. It does not matter if you're getting ready for calendar math, getting ready for morning meeting, teaching them how to turn in an assignment after they finish it, getting them to get their book boxes out, getting into daily 5, whatever it is. If you are not solid in your routines and procedures in the classroom, everything else is going to fall apart. And then you are going to find yourself getting frustrated with your class, and you're going to kind of be mad at them and be angry at them and be upset with them because they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. But you have to go back and look at yourself and reflect on, did you actually teach that routine and procedure right? Were you actually following through with the way those routines and procedures needed to be taught? Now, I do want you to know, if you do join us for the Blossoming Teacher course, inside there, I have an entire checklist for you of every single routine and procedure that you should teach at the beginning of the school year. You don't have to sit down and try and brainstorm, what do I need to do? What do I need to figure out? It's all done for you. All you have to do is actually do it. So just wanted to toss that out there. Your personal routines matter because the person you practice is the person you become, and also because you are a person first and a teacher second, but the routines and procedures in your classroom are also just as important. So you must nail them. You got to nail your personal routines. You got to nail your classroom routines. Number 3, you must have a solid classroom management plan. Now, this one's so funny when talking to first year teachers, and I was the exact same way when I started, when I became a teacher as well. But this is where every teacher is like ready to throw their hands in the air, because they're like, but what does classroom management even mean? Like, how do you define classroom management? And then they're also asking, like, what's the difference between classroom management and behavior management? Some of those things kind of just blur together, but classroom management is the way that your day goes round. It's every little thing that you're doing throughout the day, and it puts immense pressure on those routines and procedures that we just talked about. From the way you prepare your lessons to the way you let your students enter the classroom at the beginning of the day, All of these things matter, and all of them have to do with your classroom management plan. You're going to hear me talk a lot about using classroom slides. You're going to hear me talking a lot about making sure that your students know exactly what is expected of them, how long it should take them, where they need to be when they need to be there, because it is all part of your classroom management plan, and you need to think through all of those things. If you don't have a plan for every single thing, I mean, you can't always have a plan for every single thing, but if you don't take time to think through how you want these plans to unfold, it's going to be a nightmare. And you're going to have things that you're like, okay, I really didn't plan for that. So I will give you an example, and I can't even believe I didn't think of this, because this is like one of those things that I feel like every teacher thinks about right away. But my very first year, it was the very first day of school. I was doing a 7-Up writing activity with my students, and one of them stood up and said, "Can I sharpen my pencil?" And in that moment, I was like, I am the one that has to decide if the student gets to sharpen their pencil right now. Like, that was me. I was the classroom teacher. And whatever I said right there in that moment, that's what I had to stick to. So I had to quickly come up with my plan. And yes, I could go back and change things. It is just sharpening a pencil. But what I'm saying is all of that is part of your classroom management plan. Can a student sharpen a pencil right now? You maybe wouldn't think that's classroom management, but that is classroom management. So all I have to say about this is, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. You need to come up with a classroom management plan that is going to work for you, and that's going to work for your students. And you don't technically know your students yet, but you can get a pretty good idea based on what grade you're teaching, looking at some of their data scores ahead of time, figuring out what type of caseload you have in your classroom. So really taking all of that into consideration. Number 4, you must make your relationships a priority. Now, we always hear about making the relationships with our students a priority, but you need to make your personal relationships a priority, because you are a person first and a teacher second. That significant other that you have, those parents that you have, those siblings that you have, whoever it is, those people matter too. The people that are not inside the classroom with you every single day, those are the people that you go home to. Those are the people that you're going to call when you have a stressful day. So first things first, I want you to make the relationships outside of school a priority, because those are your people. The next relationships I need you to focus on are all of the relationships of the people in the building. From the moment you get the keys to your classroom, really finding out who teaches in this building, getting to know the admin, getting to know the, I'm blanking, the custodians, getting to know the bus drivers, getting to know the cafeteria workers, whoever you are seeing while you are setting up your classroom. All of those relationships matter. And you might be thinking like, but why does that matter? Well, every single one of those people is going to play some sort of role for you during your first year of teaching. So for example, you might be thinking, I really don't know why I need to get to know the bus drivers. Well, the bus drivers are going to be the people that you are going to need when you go on a field trip. So especially if you're in a smaller school, figuring out who is going to be able to drive that bus for you, that's a really big deal. The cafeteria workers, those are going to be the people that set aside that chocolate scone that you love, because they know that you want to come have one as soon as you're done teaching first period. I mean, that's so small, but it's like, those are the people that are going to make your experience so much better. The janitors, you need to be on the janitors' good side, the custodial staff, because those are the people that are going to help you when you need help. You have a really big something or another that you want moved into your classroom. Well, you're probably not going to find one of those wheelie carts on your own. Who owns those carts? Well, the janitorial staff owns them. So you need to get on their good side right away, so that when you need help, they're there to help you. Or for example, when you have a student sneak red Kool-Aid into your classroom and it spills everywhere and they need to get a stain out of your carpet, who is going to be there to help you? That would be the custodial staff. Secretaries as well, the relationship with the secretaries. I know everyone thinks that principals are the people that run the building, but that's like probably the furthest from the truth. The people who run the building, the people who know the ins and outs of everything, are the secretaries. You want to know who's coming and going every single day. You want to know who's getting dropped off by who. You want to know if this is paid on time, whatever. The secretaries are the keepers of all of the information. If you put if you put 2 relationships as your main priorities, janitors and secretaries, promise me, I'm stumbling because I'm so nervous, but seriously, those are so important. And then of course, your administration, you really want to make sure that you are on a good relationship with your admin. So really taking time to get to know them. but also taking time to get to know the relationships with your parents. I made a reel about this a few weeks ago. Do not wait until parent teacher conferences oh, Laura, thank you so much. Do not wait until parent teacher conferences to start building relationships with those parents. You can't wait until there's an issue in the classroom to start building relationships with parents. You need to make sure that you are building those relationships from the very moment school starts, whether that's taking time to mail a postcard to all of your families, whether that's making sure that you do something special for them at back to school night. Yes, I know I'm already asking you to go above and beyond, but these things matter, especially your first year of teaching. Whether you're in a small school or you're in a big school, the parents are going to talk. And do you want parents saying, I showed up to parent teacher conferences and my child's teacher is Black? Or do you want parents to show up to parent teacher conferences and be like, oh my gosh, my child's teacher is so awesome. I know they are going to have the best year ever. Like, you get to have that effect. You get to go above and beyond. And even when I said mailing those postcards, I'm not asking you to spend your own money. I'm asking you to print them at the school, and I'm asking you to ask the school for the stamps. All you have to do is write the letter. You don't even have to write it if you don't want to. You can type it and you can print them, cut them 4 ways, and you're good to go mail them out. Hardly takes any time at all, but make those relationships from the very beginning. And then, of course, relationships with students. We could talk about that all day long, but we really want to make sure our classroom is a community. I have a feeling that is the one that you know the most about. So we're not going to cover it too much today. I really wanted to make sure you knew how important it was to talk about the people that are in the building, the people that are surrounding you, and of course, your family and friends who are going to be supporting you through all of this. Mistake number 5, you must begin with the end in mind. First things first, let's throw out lesson planning. I will never forget, I can't believe I am admitting this to all of you right now, but I will never forget getting to the end of a unit, my first year of teaching, giving my students the assessment, getting the assessments back, grading the assessments, and realizing I did not teach nearly half of the content that was on that assessment. Are you going to be that teacher at one point in your life? You probably will. I'm honestly going to probably bet money on it, but I just want you to know it's going to be okay. But there are things that we can do to make sure that doesn't happen. We don't want to be the teacher that is playing a YouTube clip and whoops, probably should have watched that clip a little bit closer, or you didn't read the entire book before you started doing it as a read aloud and oh, you were not expecting that ending. We really want to make sure that we have an idea and we have a handle of everything that we are putting out into our classrooms. So when I say begin with the end in mind, I really am talking big picture. I want you to think about what is my target standard here? What are my students expected to know at the very end of this when they get done with this unit? What do I want them to know? And then I want you to work your way backwards. I don't want you to look at lesson 1 in your math book and think, okay, today I'm going to do lesson 1 and tomorrow 2 and tomorrow 3 and the next day 4 and whatever. And then you're like, keep going and you keep going and you're like, wow, I wish I would have known that was coming. If I would have known that was coming, I probably would have taught this differently, or I maybe would have done this, or I maybe would have done that activity. If we aren't looking all the way ahead, if we aren't beginning with the end in mind, knowing what we want our students to accomplish and working our way backwards, we're going to probably run into some hiccups in our first year of teaching. Number 6, you have to set boundaries. I know everyone always says this to you, but the number 1 cause of burnout, in my personal opinion, I haven't done research on this, this is just what I have been seeing and hearing from other teachers, is that teachers who don't set boundaries burn out much faster than teachers who do. I'm not expecting you to, your very first year in the classroom, stick to your contract hours 100%. I know that is not realistic, but I am asking you to try and set some boundaries if you can, to really think through what are those things that are really important to you and put them in your calendar, put yourself on your to-do list and make sure those things happen. I know your first year of teaching, you're going to feel like you can't ever take some time off for an appointment. You're going to feel like you can't ever put yourself first in certain situations, but you need to. We all have wellness checks that we are supposed to get done every single year. Just because you are a first year teacher does not mean you cannot take time to go in and take care of your body, because you only get one body. The body that you have right now is really important. You can take time to make sure that you have the right lenses, to get your eyes checked. You can take time to get your teeth cleaned. I was just talking to my mom about this today, that it's so funny. You guys don't need to hear this, and I didn't even plan on talking about this, but it's so funny that we get a set of teeth as children, and those teeth fall out by the time we're like 6 or 7. And then we're expected to have these teeth for the next 80 years. And it's like, if I would have taken care of my teeth better then, I would probably have better teeth now. So, my point in saying this is you need to set boundaries and you need to take time for you. In addition to that, I also want you to know about setting boundaries in when they say, don't check your email after work hours, things like that. I got into a very bad habit of checking my email right before I went to bed. So it'd be like 10:30, 11 o'clock, and I would check my school email. And it didn't happen often, but there were times where I would get an email from a parent and it would just upset me. And I don't ever reply to those emails when I'm upset or anything like that. But I stayed up all night long thinking about that email. And if I wouldn't have checked my email before work, I wouldn't have had to worry about it. Now, on the contrary, there are going to be people who say, well, if I don't check my email, then I don't know what to expect the next day. And yes, that's true too. So I guess you have to decide, but set some boundaries. Do not make yourself available at all hours. With the technology that we carry around in our purse, in our pocket, whatever, every single day, people think that you should be able to get back to them immediately. If you're using the Remind app or Class Dojo or whatever with your families, they're going to think, well, they got a notification, they should get back to me. If you start in the beginning of the year replying to every single message you get immediately, you're setting that tone that that's what you're going to do, and then you have to stick to that. For me, I always said, I will get back to you within 24 hours. No matter what it was, I will get back to you within 24 hours. And in some cases, 24 hours is too much. You need to get back to them much sooner than that. But if you say, you know what, I'm not going to make you wait 3 days, I'm not even going to make you wait 2 days, but I will always get back to you within 24 hours. That means you're taking one time within the 24-hour period to check your email, to do whatever you need to do and get those sent off. And then the other thing, by setting boundaries, I also do not want you to take on so much during your first year of teaching that you can't focus on the priority, and that is just being a teacher. You're going to want to get involved in all of the cool clubs and committees and get in on this team or that team, because you want to do all of the things your first year of teaching, but you don't have to do all of those things your first year of teaching. You can just focus on being a teacher, and that is more than enough. Number 7 here for you is you must find your people. This is kind of a goofy picture. I didn't know what kind of picture to use for that, but you need to find your ride or dies. Now, all schools are going to have a little bit different dynamic. And if you're teaching at a small school, of course, there's not as many people. If you're teaching at a big school, you might feel a little disconnected because there's so many wings and so many grades that you really don't feel like you get the opportunity to get to know everyone in the building. But I really do want you to take time, those days when you're setting up your classroom, when you're in the building, the school year hasn't started yet, take that time to get to know the people in the building. We want to find the people that are going to be able to be honest with us, that we can bring a big project that we want to do and run it by them, and they're going to give us their honest opinion. I don't really know that's going to work, or maybe you should take this into consideration. We just want to find the people that are going to truly give us their honest opinion, instead of just, oh yeah, that sounds great. Oh, I think that'll be awesome. Some people don't care about us enough to actually give us real feedback. We also want to find the people who will cover for us if anything ever happens. Maybe you need to use the restroom and you will not leave your students unattended. Please do not leave your students unattended. So we need to find someone who can cover for us, that we can quickly text or send an email or whatever and just say, hey, can you come into my room? And not even just for the bathroom. There are going to be days, actually, I'm going to save this part for another slide because it goes better with that. But you're also going to need someone that can cover for you if something comes up, such as an instance that happened to me. I was backing out of my garage and the garage door opened and there was a cement truck pouring cement next door, and I was stuck in my garage until the cement truck was done pouring the concrete. So is that going to happen to you? Probably not. Does that really happen often? Probably not. But my point being, there is going to be something that comes up. You can be as planned and prepared as you ever think, and then something like that's going to happen. So you need to find people in the building who are going to be able to set out your assignment when you're sick, who are going to be able to write on your whiteboard when you can't make it in. Whatever it is, you need to find your people. But also, you want to find your people because you need people who are going to celebrate those really awesome days with you, those days that your lesson plans just go better than ever, the days that all of the behaviors in your classroom are just non-existent, the days that all of your students just get along and it's just the best day ever. You need people for that too. You need people who are going to celebrate you and encourage you. The next one is you need to be able to ask for help. Now, again, we're getting to know all of those cool rock star teachers in the building, but we really want to make sure that even if they're not our best friend, we are able to ask for help during our first year of teaching. The nitty gritty is you don't know what you don't know. All teachers are starting in this very new space. There we go. Being a first year teacher is hard. Like, no matter how much schooling you go to, you can't truly prepare for being a first year teacher in the sense of all of the different things that you're going to go through. So I really want you to think about how you are going to maybe put yourself out of your comfort zone during your first year of teaching and be willing to ask for help. You know, there are going to be situations where admin or whoever asks you to do something and you might not be able to pull through what they're asking you to accomplish. You might need to get some help. You might need to ask around. You might need to say, you know what, I'm not really sure what you're asking of me. So I really just want you to think about if you are someone who is really shy and who is super independent and who feels like they have to do absolutely every single thing on their own, how can you take some time to figure out how you're going to be able to ask for help during this upcoming school year? Because if you try and stack up all of these things onto your teacher plate, it's going to lead to burnout because you're not setting those boundaries as well. Number 9, this one's a little silly, but you're going to have to learn to shake it off, honestly. With teaching, whether it's your first year of teaching or your 40th year of teaching, resiliency is key. From the parent emails that you might get, from the pop-up assemblies that throw off your perfect day, from the test fire drills or whatever they're doing, things that just throw off your day, but also from students who maybe had a meltdown in the morning and came and brought all of that to school, the students who are acting up, the students who are saying rude things, the students who are saying things that should never be said. Students are going to ask for things in the most unloving ways sometimes. Sometimes they're going to be really mean and really hurtful, and that's because they are seeking something deeper that they don't know how to necessarily ask for. So on these really hard days, on these days where it just feels like it's impossible, you can't go on, we need to find a way that we're going to dance it off, that we're going to shake it off, that maybe we're going to drive home in silence, but then we're going to leave that issue in our car. We're going to straighten our crown and we're going to get back to work. We're going to go back and do it again tomorrow. There are going to be very, 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 very hard days of teaching, but there are also going to be a million amazing days of teaching. So on those tough days, I really just need you to think about how are you going to shake that off and make sure that you can give everyone a fresh start and go back and do it again tomorrow. That might mean taking a deep breath. That might mean finding that teacher bestie who's going to cover for you and say, hey, you know what? I'm really struggling right now. Can you come into my classroom? And I'm just going to go in the hallway and take a 5-minute break. I'm just going to go walk around. I'm going to go to the staff lounge and get some water, whatever it is. You're going to, maybe not even your first year, but there's going to come a time where you just need a minute, and that's okay. That is okay to take some time for you. But we really have to be resilient during our first year of teaching and figure out how are we going to not let every little thing that could get to us. And then number 10 is you have to get a mentor. You cannot do this alone, no matter how prepared you think you are. Nobody is truly prepared for their first year of teaching. Every single group of students is so different. Every single classroom is so different. The way they learn, the way they act, the way they behave, everything about kids is just so different from year to year. And trying to do this whole thing called teaching can be lonely, especially after a hard day when you maybe just need someone to vent to, you just need someone to talk to, but also someone that you can get those lesson plan ideas from, that you can talk through some ideas with, and that you can get their opinion on them. You just need someone who you can bounce things off of. Some schools are going to provide this for you. Other schools aren't. So I don't want you to think that, oh my gosh, my school is not going to give me anyone. They might, or they might not. Like I know Laura, who's on here, she is going to have a mentor assigned to her, and that is the most beautiful thing in the entire world. And with that, I've always had mentors during my teaching, but sometimes we also want a mentor who's maybe not in the building, who maybe just isn't going to be there to judge us and see us working the very next day as well. And that's kind of where we transition. So I just want to say, as we get to this point here, this might be the end of our journey. I know you've all been on this call now with me for 35, 37-ish minutes. And if this is it, if this is the end, if you said, hey, you know what, Kayla, thank you so much for the info, but I think I'm going to sign off, that is totally okay. You are more than welcome to go. I've had the greatest privilege of being able to share this with you. I always love being able to share anything I can with first year teachers. So if you ever need anything, you can definitely reach out to me. You can email me, you can send me a message on Instagram, whatever it is. But if you're here to stick around for a few more minutes, this is where we transition. You are officially invited to become a Blossoming Teacher member. A couple of the people who are on this call are already members. And so you've maybe heard about it, you maybe haven't, but I did want to take just a minute to explain to you why I am calling it the Blossoming Teacher course and what that means to me. So when I first started researching what I wanted this program to be about, the first thing I did was I started brainstorming names and I came up with the word blossom. And when you go on askdifference.com, the definition of blossom is a blooming period or a stage of development, something lovely that gives rich promise. And that's what I have here for you today with the Blossoming Teacher course. I have a rich promise for you that through this course, you will be able to blossom into the teacher that you were born to be, because we all have that doubt inside of us. We all have imposter syndrome. We all feel like we aren't enough. We can't do what we need to do. But I truly believe that when you have the supports in place, we can do anything. But what I do want you to know is that the reality is nearly 50% of teachers leave the classroom within the first 5 years of teaching, which is absolutely insane. And oftentimes it's because they just don't have the support and encouragement that they need. The reality is that 27% of teachers right now are considering leaving the profession, and that has a lot to do with everything that's going on right now. COVID's happening. There are so many high stake things that are going on right now. It is just a lot. And so the reason why I started this program is because my 5th year of teaching, which was the start of 2019, it was my year. Like I had the best year in the classroom that I have ever had. I was seriously killing it, just like I want all of you to kill it. It was the absolute perfect year. But at the end of the day, I would go home and I would just scroll Instagram and I would check out what's going on. And this was before Reels. So it was really just like reading post after post after post. And I just kept saying, I kept seeing nobody said it was going to be this hard. College didn't prepare me for this. Why do I feel so alone in this journey? And I just kept seeing teacher after teacher after teacher posting this. And so I knew I had to do something about it. And I didn't know then at the beginning of the year. I actually thought about it for a really long time, for about 6 months. I thought about it, and that's when I decided I was going to start the Blossoming Teacher course. And so the Blossoming Teacher course has 3 main components here. And when I started researching what teachers needed in order to be successful, there were 3 things that I kept coming up with again and again and again. The first one is teachers need mentorship. They need a mentor who's going to guide them, encourage them, and help them grow to be successful. Someone who listens, who problem solves, who provides support, who picks them back up on those hard days, but also celebrates them on those great days. They need community. They need to be around like-minded individuals who are going through the same season of life as them. They need to be able to communicate and collaborate with other teachers. They need teachers who are going to be there to help them feel seen, heard, and loved, just like our students feel. And they need teachers who are going to become friends. The third thing that I kept seeing is that they need teacher PD, because just because they became a teacher doesn't mean that they already know everything. They need to be consistently learning new things so that they can consistently go with everything that is coming their way in education. So of course, your mentorship is going to be me as your coach. My name is Kayla Durkin. I've been an educator for 7 years. I do support first year teachers all around the country already. We have almost 200 teachers who have been through the program. And that speaks to itself. Over 200 teachers have taken a chance on me and have came out on the other side, which is absolutely amazing. I have taught over 9 grade levels. I've worked with countless schools, hundreds of students, so many different demographics and socioeconomic statuses. And all of that led me here to supporting first year teachers just like you, supporting teachers to help them blossom into the teacher that they were born to be. With this mentorship, you will also be able to join in on our monthly coaching calls, which brings us to our community. And I think our community is my favorite part. When we get these teachers on our calls every single month, we get to hang out, we get to laugh, we get to cry, we get to vent a little bit, and we just get to work through things that people in our life, our outside teaching world, just don't truly understand. I can tell my husband what happened in the classroom, but he doesn't really get it because he's never been a teacher. Same thing with my mom. I can tell my mom what happened at school, but my mom just doesn't really get it. Whereas our community, our first year teachers all around the country, they just get it. And then the last part is our Teacher PD. Inside of the Blossoming Teacher course, you are going to find over 50 videos that have so many different things that are going to be so helpful to you during your first year of teaching. My absolute favorite one is what do you do when you get the keys to your classroom? Because I was totally lost when that happened to me. So here's what the course looks like. Let's take a peek inside. This is the platform I use, Kajabi. When you sign in, you are going to see all of these different modules. Each of these rectangles is a video that you are able to click on and watch. You can see right here, we have 50 lessons. This is an old screenshot, so there's actually a few more now. We have all of these awesome bonuses from other teachers all around the country, because I will be the first to admit, I don't know everything. I know a lot, but I don't know everything. And there are certain things that I have to go and get help with. So in addition to Sydney's video about the hiring process, in addition to our classroom management video, those are going to be added this week. Those teachers are just finalizing those up for me. We also have all of these bonuses already. We have a grammar mini course from Not So Wimpy Teaching. She's like huge. She is amazing. She loves first year teachers. She wanted to make sure that she threw a bonus in there. We have culturally responsive teaching. We need to make sure that we are seeing all of our students every single day. We have what to do if you want to get your master's during your first year of teaching. I don't have my master's, so that's not something I can speak to. That's why I had to seek out someone else to put that in there. So that's kind of what it looks like inside there. All of the videos come along with awesome work pages. I really wanted to make sure that I showed you. This is the one that checks all of the routines and procedures, because I don't want you to have to think about them. I just want to give it to you and let you be able to run with it. So I know you're dying to know, how much does it cost? If you haven't went to the website already, there are 3 options here for you. You can have the basic Blossoming Teacher course, which does not come with our monthly coaching program, but you do get all of the modules, you get all of the workbook pages, all of the bonuses. That is all included in there. You're just not going to get that monthly support from me. And some people just don't like me, and that's okay. And they don't want to hang out with me every single month. So that is the one for them. The most popular option we have, it's our exclusive Blossoming Teacher course. It is lifetime access to the course. You get all the videos, you get all the workbook pages, you get all of the bonuses, you get all of that, but you also get to hang out with us every single month on our monthly coaching calls. And then we do have a payment plan option, because I know that some people just don't have the money. I researched and I calculated for hours of, how can I make this affordable, but how can I make enough to pay for Kajabi and to pay for Zoom and to pay for Canva and to pay for all of the things that I have to pay for to do all of this for you. So it's not about me making money. It's about making it affordable enough for you without me going broke. But with that, if you're sitting here thinking like, I really don't have this money, a lot of the first year teachers that I talk to, they actually ask for parents to give it to them as part of their graduation gift, or maybe they have a million siblings and each of their siblings contributes a couple dollars, whatever it is. We always have family and friends that are saying, I know it's going to be your first year of teaching. What can I get for you? This could be a perfect idea for them. I do also have some administration who pay for this. I've probably had maybe about 25 of the first year teachers who have went through this. They've had their admin pay for it. So that's always an option too, but I understand where you're at in your school year. You maybe don't have your admin yet. So this is the point now in our day where I turn to you and ask, Is it a heck yes? I'm in. I'm going to make sure I sign up for this. Or is it a not yet? And that's okay if it's a not yet, because I understand every single person is at a completely different place in their journey.
Okay, and remember how I said it kind of ends abruptly? Yeah, that's what I meant. It ended abruptly. But I really do hope that you found some tips that you were able to take away. And I do hope that if you are interested in joining a Blossoming Teacher course, that you know it is not too late. Again, we're getting together on Monday to talk all about planning your first week of school. Getting together at the beginning of September to chat all about whining a little and laughing a lot of all the things that happen those first couple days or first couple weeks of school. So I will be back next week with another episode. I wish I could tell you the title, but it's not recorded yet. And so, yeah, stay tuned. More to come. Thanks for being here. If you need anything, you know where to find me at North Dakota Teaching. And if you want to join us and become a Blossoming Teacher member, head to www.ndteaching.com/BTC. That's going to take you to the three options that I shared with you before, the $97 option, the $147 option, the payment plan option. Or if you're all in, you want access to everything for a lifetime, head to ndteaching.com/blossom and it's going to take you to our lifetime membership for $147. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. We'll chat soon. Have a fantastic day.